Hey guys, welcome to class. So I just want to give you a few pointers about the wealthy mind and just give you a few points to ponder while we discuss this topic. I want to talk to you about how thinking in terms of abundance is the very first step to actually having abundance, and how you invest your time can either make you a slave or set you free. Time is the investment capital that everyone is given equally. How we use it is what becomes the dividing line between poverty and wealth. Every lost hour puts you into a hole. Every properly invested hour elevates you above ground. This is the invisible scorecard of life, the major difference between those who become kings and those who remain paupers. Wealth does not begin with cash in your wallet. It starts with discipline in your habits. Protect every hour of your day and decide how you are going to invest it, because how you invest the first hour of your day sets the pace for the rest of your day. The mind is like fresh soil when you first wake up. Whatever information you feed it with in that first hour will begin to grow and direct your energy, your decisions, and even your emotions. If you start with entertainment, noise, or garbage, then the rest of your day will feel scattered, chaotic, and unfocused. But if you begin with learning, reflection, and planning, you'll put yourself on a path of productivity that compounds day after day, year after year. Some of the most successful people in the world have daily routines that they do not deviate from. They may wake up and begin reading or writing out their goals. Others are reviewing their financial plans. Others are listening to business coaches whose words inspire them to make the right decisions every day. Others, like me, take those precious moments and take the time to pray and meditate on the scriptures in the Bible, because I understand that the first hour of the day is not a time to consume the world's noise, but a time to create your own program. Ask yourself this question. If you were walking into a boardroom meeting with executives in a multi-billion-dollar organization, would you come into the boardroom and start scrolling through TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook? Or would you be focused, attentive, and organized? Take those moments as seriously as you would taking a meeting with these executives in that boardroom, because if you take your time seriously, you will find yourself operating at a level where others also take their time seriously. You will find yourself with other people who also value their time. Those kinds of people tend to be people of value. But to belong to that kind of energy, you have to have that kind of energy yourself. That energy must be directed with the correct information. So taking the time to program your mind with the kind of future you want is not only a power move, it's a strategic advantage. The actual payment for anything you want in this life is the payment of your time, your attention, and your energy. Take those moments to learn something new, to sharpen your mind, to gain new insights, to learn about principles at play that you can leverage to your advantage. Quiet moments of focus in the morning will save you hours of confusion during the day. Even 20 minutes of focused learning can turn your entire day around. A 20-minute daily routine of sowing seeds of knowledge into your mind can produce a forest of wisdom that compounds over time into the kind of financial freedom that most people can only dream of. Discipline in the morning trains the mind for wealth creation. Success requires that you live by design, not by default. If you allow your phone, the television, or the news to dictate how your day begins, you're already living by somebody else's agenda. But when you design the first hour of your day, you send a powerful message to your mind and to life itself that I am in control of my future. I design my path. I choose how I think, how I plan, and how I act. That single choice repeatedly, daily, will set you apart from the masses. So create your morning routine. Make sure it's designed to send you in the direction that you desire the most. Pray, read, meditate on scriptures. Take time to think about your life and think positively about your future, like your future depends on it, because in many ways, it does. The poor spend their time. The wealthy invest their time. This is the main difference between a life of struggle and a life of abundance. Everyone has the same 24 hours a day. Some use those hours to entertain themselves. Others use those hours to educate themselves, to foster valuable relationships that benefit them for years to come. How your hours are used is what creates wealth or sustains poverty and struggle. The person who spends time bounces back and forth from distraction to distraction. He reacts to what others have created and waits for opportunities to come knocking at their door. The person who invests time sees it as a tool that they can use to learn, to earn, and to build something that compounds over the years into the kind of fortune most people will never see in their lifetime. I used to be just like them. I was young and struggling. I would spend my time entertaining myself with music, movies, series, or conversations that did not benefit me or anyone else for that matter. I was watching the news and concerning myself with issues I had no control over. Then I began to do what the Bible actually teaches us to do with our time. Psalms 90 verse 12. So teach us to number our days that we may apply our hearts to wisdom. A wise man treats every moment of time as something sacred. The wealthy view time in the same way. Every moment of every day is traded for something strategic. Something that will improve their ability to think or to speak or to discern difference. They think about their next move. They consider the best possible options. They write down their plans. They design their futures. They take control over their future events to the best of their ability by planning for it. They line up events and position themselves as the beneficiaries of those events. They understand that time is the currency that is either wasted or invested, and time wasted can never be replaced. You must decide every day how you're going to invest your time in a way that benefits you, instead of wasting your time staring at a screen, being entertained by someone who is not teaching you the facts of life or the principles of leverage that can turn your life around. Why should you watch someone else live your life through a screen? Why should you watch people who have teams that help them succeed when you have not formed your own team to help you succeed? Ouch. Where is your championship ring? Where are your trophies of accomplishment? When will the crowd celebrate your own victory? If they train on a daily basis so that they can reach the finals, why don't you? There are skills you can learn that will pay you dividends for years. Will you spend that time scrolling through social media? Will you lounge in comfort? Or will you create an income stream that grows while you sleep? Wealthy people think in terms of return on time. Every action, every choice, every hour has a potential to pay you handsomely if you invest it wisely. 1 hour per day spent learning about a potential investment, potential assets, multiplies over time into skills, confidence, and opportunities that a lifetime of wasted hours can never buy. The wealthy understand that time invested in themselves is the greatest yielding investment of all. They read, they plan, they network, and they act consistently. They treat time like money. If they are unwilling to spend $100 foolishly, they will not spend 1 hour of their time mindlessly. And because they invest their time wisely, money follows them. Every hour you invest compounds into a life of wealth, freedom, and achievement. Most people spend their lives consuming, but the wealthy spend their lives creating. Consumption is easy. Entertainment, distraction, endless scrolling on your device is designed to steal your time, your money, your focus, and your energy. And if you're not careful, you will live your whole life feeding on what others have created while never building anything of your own. But wealth begins at creativity. Creativity means you are producing value for the marketplace. And the marketplace pays richly for value. If you only consume what others produce, you will have nothing to show for it. You'll have wasted your time and your energy on something that cannot give you a return on your time investment. Meanwhile, the wealthy are busy reading, writing, planning, building small businesses, studying investments, crafting speeches, developing products. They spent the same number of hours that you spent consuming, but they were producing, creating, strategizing, growing, learning about what the market wants and what it does not want. They found out by researching and discovered a way to deliver a unique value proposition that earned them a nice chunk of the marketplace. Meanwhile, you were busy watching a movie or a game or entertaining yourself on social media. For the amount of opportunity that the game cost you, I hope it was a really good game. I mean, if it cost you a slice of the marketplace, I hope that movie changed your life for the better. Productive creativity compounds over time and expands exponentially. This is how great fortunes are created. This is why you should never despise the day of small beginnings. The life of consumption, however, also has the potential to compound over time. Hours wasted can become habitual and result in the exponential expansion of mediocrity. Like they say, when it rains, it pours, right? The poor build their lives around consumption, while the wealthy build their lives around production. At the end of the day, ask yourself, what will I have produced that did not exist yesterday? Will I have written a page or designed a new product or invested for the future or created an opportunity? Or will I consume another movie, another game, another gossip conversation, another scroll through the social media? The quality of your financial life is tied directly to that answer. Creation develops confidence. Creation builds skills. Creation builds wealth. When you produce value, the marketplace rewards you because money flows towards those who solve problems, provide solutions, and make life easier or better for others. Like I always say, your wealth is directly connected to your ability to provide solutions for someone other than yourself. So the next time you reach for consumption, stop and ask yourself, is there something I could create instead? Because in the end, your wealth is not determined by how much you consumed, but by how much you produced. Creation is the true path to freedom. Don't think in terms of adding hours to the time you work as an employee to make more money, because that is how the employee thinks. Instead, think like the wealthy. And I know because I used to be there. I used to be an employee. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't think in terms of addition. Think in terms of multiplication. That was the first commandment, right? Be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue, and have dominion. The second commandment right there was multiply. Multiplying results requires building systems, using leverage, and investing in assets that grow independently of your time. If you want wealth, you must stop adding and start multiplying. Working a job will never make you rich because your time is limited by the hours in a day. No matter how much you push yourself, there are only 24 hours in a day. The wealthy own businesses. They invest wisely. They create intellectual property. They are not necessarily working more hours than you are. Many times they are working fewer hours, but their income and influence multiplied. One system, one well thought out process, or one wise investment created revenue over and over and over again without additional effort. That is the power of multiplication. It can be creating a business that runs while you sleep. You can hire competent people to handle operations, or invest in assets that generate passive income. The difference is what you must discern. Don't trade time for money. Instead, trade thought, skill, and strategy for results that compound and grow. You can write a book once and sell it 1,000 times. But if you sell your labor hour by hour, your earnings stop when your work stops. Apply the principle of multiplied efforts, and you will have freed yourself from that limitation. Delegation is your friend. You cannot multiply effectively if you try to do everything yourself. The wealthy hire, train, and empower others to execute parts of their vision. A system of people, processes, and tools can accomplish more than a single person alone. If you combine this with smart investments that grow over time, you create layers of income and opportunities. Your mind becomes the command center. Your time is leveraged and your wealth is no longer bound by the clock. This is where your mindset plays a critical role. To multiply, you must think in terms of possibility, scalability, and long-term impact. Every action, every decision, every dollar should be evaluated not just for immediate returns, but for its potential to produce ongoing results. Don't ask how much will I earn today. Ask how can I create something today that earns tomorrow, next month, or for years to come. Adding hours to your shift may pay the bills, but creating systems that multiply your efficiency builds empires. The wealthy don't trade hours for dollars. They create systems, assets, and processes that expand without requiring direct effort at every step. That is leverage. Thinking in multiplication is a daily practice, a mental habit. Every financial choice, every skill you develop, every opportunity you encounter should be filtered through this lens. Ask yourself, will this grow or will it just add another dollar? One multiplies, the other just accumulates. Remember the commandment of God in the beginning. It was not addition, it was multiplication. Scripture says in Genesis 1:28, and God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. Be fruitful, that's be productive, and multiply. Multiplication turns small efforts into exponential results. Train yourself to think this way about your money on a daily basis, and you will quietly build systems of wealth that grow far beyond your direct effort long before anyone even notices. Every dollar is a tool for wealth. Before you spend, ask yourself, how can this multiply? Money is either a servant or a master, and many people never stop to ask themselves what role money is playing in their own lives. Even if you earn good money, you will remain broke if you hand over the control of your finances to chance, to impulse, and to the noise of the world. The difference between those who build wealth and those who merely survive from paycheck to paycheck is mastery over money itself. Every dollar must have a mission. Every dollar must be a soldier in your financial army. Wise men track every penny, plan every expenditure, and prioritize savings and investments over consumption. That is when money transforms into a tool, not a source of stress. Keeping track over your resources will seem boring at first, but you will soon realize that it reveals patterns, it exposes waste, and it highlights opportunities. Budgeting is not about restriction, it's about direction. When you decide in advance where every dollar goes, you prevent it from being stolen by habit, impulse, or distraction. Savings are not just money stashed away for a rainy day. They are the fuel for future investments. The ammunition for building assets and investing wisely is where your dollars begin to work independently, multiplying quietly while you focus on growing your skills and your opportunities. In closing, wealth does not begin when the money comes. No. First, your mind changes. Then when your mind changes into wealth creation principles, then the money comes. That's why the curse of the lottery is so crazy, because people see a person wins 10 million, 20 million, $50 million, and within 6 months, this guy's broke. Leave alone being broke. This guy's in debt. Why? Because the money that he had actually shrank to the size of his mentality. So if your mentality is a mentality of poverty and consumption, I promise you, doesn't matter how much money you make, you will shrink to the size of your financial philosophy. So switch the philosophy and then watch as the money begins to grow. It's just an abundance mindset. Once this thing goes from being conscious thought life to being subconscious thought life, that's when wealth creation switches to autopilot. And that's when you automatically just think in terms of wealth creation. That's when your money life, that's when your financial life can get really good, can get really sweet. And people look at you like, man, how are you doing this? Well, it starts with listening to content like this on a daily basis instead of consuming information. So with those few words, I just want to congratulate you for listening to this all the way to the end. If you listen to content like this, I promise you, your mind is going to change. When your mind changes, your actions will change. When your actions change, your outcomes will change. And people will see the difference between your life and everybody else's. Because after time passes, the difference between you and everybody else becomes obvious. All right, so with those few words, may God bless you guys, and I'll see you at the top. Salute.